Because we have minimal topics.
Minimal topics. And also you got to get out of here at some point too.
Well, yeah, I gave us plenty of time, but still near 2 hours, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. I assume we're on Twitter. I can't even tell if we're on. I can't even tell if we're live on Twitter. It says we are. There's a link that apparently tweeted out that says we are. We're on Facebook. I'll share that to my Facebook. Why can I no longer share things? Copy link. Sure. On my Facebook account, I can no longer share things, and I don't know why.
That sounds terrible. That's actually very funny.
It's incredibly frustrating.
On my Facebook, I can no longer share things. I kind of want to squirt.
It's so aggravating. Okay. I think we're just ready to freaking do this. I think we're still prepping. Yeah, I guess we're streaming on Twitter. I really cannot tell. We're streaming on everything else, so it's a test run to see if Twitter works at all.
Yeah.
I have no freaking.
I know there's ways to make Twitter work, so.
Those ways are unknown.
Oh, it's working.
Is it?
Yeah. Because I could see me switch my hat for the nighttime. It's just I don't know why the video is not like up, it shows the link and you have to click on it. Lost connection. Trying to go. That's just me because I'm an idiot. That's weird.
You have to click on the link.
Yeah, which I've never seen before, unless I don't know.
Unless it's an update or something. That's weird. Well, we'll just go and I can figure it out later.
Yeah.
I was like, that's weird. I don't understand why that's the case.
Mexican.
Okay. You ready?
Anyone's clicking and listening. It's because he played the song Mexican.
Is that the only word you know?
From the new one, yes. I used to know their original. Because they also said Sarah Miedo, which I think they say in the new one anyways. Meet us in the ring. Ucha Bros. Mexican. Are we even talking about AEW this week?
No. Unless you got a match of the week.
I don't even know what wrestling I watched this week.
Me neither. This week has been a light week, to say the least.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
It feels like everyone's coming down off of the high that was Grand Slam still.
More like home run, am I right?
Foul ball.
I guess we're going to have to go with Tai Chi versus Evil. Okay, I'm just kidding. There's probably something in here that I'm just forgetting.
Probably. Okay, before we get started with the actual show, I'm tweeting out nonsense for anyone that's watching. I'm tweeting out links, not sausage links, regular Twitter links.
Not sausage links. Yeah, we don't have breakfast here.
No. I'm not going to be eating donuts live on the air again.
Or drinking Mountain Dew.
Which I did.
Which was legendary.
A legendary podcast episode.
All right, we're just going to have to pick a weird... Oh my god, I never logged... I don't think I ever logged Rampage.
Rampage.
I did.
Rampage.
What a goon. Oh no. I hate how different the Sheets app is on the phone.
The Sheets app? The Sheets to the gas station?
No, like the Google Sheets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did log Rampage. I'm an idiot. I'm having a time over here. I have Brian Danielson versus Nick Jackson right there, my front of my face, and I didn't see it. My eyes deceived me. Maybe I should have watched more of the G1 to keep myself updated. Then I would have a match already. But now I have to play catch up today. Are we starting? What are we doing?
I'm sorry. I'm tweeting out still. And there we go. Okay, let's start this as the kids say, bish or something.
I don't think anyone has ever said that.
Well, too bad. We're starting
bish.
it. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Dang it! I didn't hit record. Okay, and we are recording now. Hitting in 3, 2. Professional operation here. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that reviews wrestling all in 1 week. Or not all of wrestling in 1 week. It reviews the past weeks and the futures of... we're the only show that does it hosted by us. So that's the only thing that matters for you to know. I am Ryan Neitzey, and with me, as always, is Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing, my friend?
Great. I accidentally punched my microphone during the introduction, so that was awesome.
That's perfectly fine. You slept well last night, correct?
Yeah, I slept on a recliner for like 5 straight hours. Woke up at like 6 a.m. today. Was lost. Was like, okay, well, I need to go to bed. Try to, fix my sleep here. And I didn't. So I'm here and I am tired. And I am going to give you the best wrestling takes I have at 9 a.m. in the morning following a night of sleeping on a recliner.
Jesus Christ! What were you doing on a recliner? What were you watching that required reclining?
So I was actually
sleep?
on my laptop. My mom was watching TV, and she fell asleep on the couch. And I was done with my computer, and I was just very tired, so I kind of fell asleep while I was holding it. And I was like, you know what? I'll probably only sleep here for an hour max. It's okay. Little did I know, 5 hours later, I slept the whole time, right through, and it wasn't great. So today will be an interesting day of trying to, I don't know, just move on with the show. We don't need to hear about me anymore.
You hate to sleep on a recliner. We were talking about it before, that I feel like recliners are the perfect furniture item that is, this is so comfortable, I can totally sleep in this, and then by the time you actually sleep in it, it's the worst livable experience, or not livable, sleepable experience ever.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever slept in a recliner. I have the issue where I'm 6'5" and I can't sleep anywhere that's comfortable. So
that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, my height is the most interesting thing we'll talk about today. It's been a light week in wrestling, I think.
It has been.
I think it's been a very light week. We still got some topics to talk about.
We should probably talk more about like next week's Dynamite.
Oh, let's just hype Dynamite every week.
Well, that's a really good episode of Dynamite, man.
Can we talk about last week's episode of Dynamite where Jungle Boy lost again?
Yeah. Well, he lost to our show's mascot, so it's okay.
That's a good point. But we got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about still. We're going to talk about IATSE, which is a film and television union, voted on Friday whether or not they're going to authorize a strike. So we're going to talk about that's effect on wrestling.
He says we mean him, and I'm just going to be like, hi. Okay, continue.
You're gonna be like the audience that like I'll have to like to answer all the questions.
I'll give you the oohs and ahs.
Please.
Don't you worry.
The oohs, ahs, the questions of the matter. And if I'm talking too technical, you'll allow me to explain it like I'm 5 or something.
Yeah, I'll ask you to dumb it down. Don't you worry.
But that could have a huge impact on wrestling. So we'll talk about that when that gets to it.
She did there. Impact. Funny.
We're also gonna give our thoughts about the G1 Climax up to day 8. Just give our thoughts.
We're grading.
We're gonna be graded.
My favorite thing we do.
Grading the grade 1. And then of course we're gonna kick off the show with everyone's favorite pay-per-view that took place. That I don't even like. It happened last week, Scotty, and I barely remember it. Extreme Rules. WWE's Extreme Rules.
I can't forget it, my friend. Well, there was a draft, so I guess I am starting to forget it. But yeah, it was. Oh boy. I think this is gonna be like my 3rd time reviewing it in some form, so this is gonna be great. Just great.
Thoughts on the draft? How do you feel about the draft this year?
So the draft is always a good idea on the surface because, like, yeah, we get to shake up rosters and yada yada yada. And we get to bring up NXT people, which hasn't happened for like 4 years. But based off one night of like what they did in the draft and like actually giving SmackDown the first pick for the first time ever, I was like, this could have been worse. I don't mind the shake up. Does that mean someone started rebooking these shows and that they're just instantly going to get better? No, that does not. That's not at all what this means. But I like the idea of shaking up rosters, and if the draft is the way you want to do it, you get a little spike in your ratings. That's what TV's for. Do whatever the hell you want. That's what I'm at. I watch it. I'm like, oh look, yeah, you got Charlotte, you poor soul. Awesome. Like that's about where I'm at now. Like Roman Reigns got picked first.
I was so frustrated about that.
When Roman Reigns got picked first?
Yeah, but it was just like the opening pick of the draft is Roman Reigns is staying on SmackDown. It's like, oh, cool. So,
well, I did not want him to go to Raw. So there was like a whole thing of me being like, well, so this is how they do it every other year, where they have Raw pick first because of the weird, like, you get 3 picks to SmackDown's 2 because you have a bigger roster.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there like, okay, so how are you going to have them be the first pick and not pick Roman Reigns? Because usually they do it no matter what. And this time they were like, okay, we're going to give SmackDown the first pick, which they didn't announce or say anything about. They were just like, all right, we're drafting. So I was happy that like Roman Reigns stayed because I just, Raw's bad. Like Raw's extra bad. So just like push that over there. But yeah, I agree with you that like the first 2 picks were like, oh, nothing happened. Awesome.
That's what I mean. That's what my frustration comes from, is that it doesn't kick off with a bang. It kicks off with like a wet fart of an opening. Like, yeah, of course, in kayfabe, Roman Reigns is probably the first guy anyone would want to draft.
Yeah.
It's like drafting like Tom Brady or something.
Exactly.
Well, ironically, even though he wasn't drafted first. But it's just like, okay, they should have started off of Raw, because then we would have had Big E officially become a Raw guy, but whatever. I don't want
to. It's a big thing for me of like, this is the complete opposite of like a draft in sports. Like, I don't care about the first round. Get to the other stuff, because that's where like things actually happen.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's because like, they did Charlotte and Bianca switching. I was like, oh, that's cool. They called up Hit Row, which I saw some people predict, and I was like, "What? You actually thought this was going to happen?" I was like, I never thought for a second that Hit Row was going to make it to the main roster as a unit. I'm sorry, I just never saw it happening, and that's because of who runs the promotion, which is just. But whatever. I'm not talking about the draft anymore. Just let's get to Extreme Rules. Let's get to the pain.
Let's get to the pain indeed. It was an extreme night for WWE, as every match, as per typical, every match was under Extreme Rules. What's that? Hold on, I'm getting a message. No, only one match? Only one match was covered by the Extreme Rules? Okay, my apologies. Oh, but one match was a triple threat? Did they have weapons in there? No? Okay, well then never mind. Extreme Rules. Mixed reactions about Extreme Rules seen online. Overall, what did you think about the show? I felt that the show had some solid wrestling, but dumb booking and dumb WWE-ness throughout. So
That's exactly the way to explain it, because there was like, what is there, 6 7 matches, out of those matches I felt like 5 at least gave you solid good wrestling, but it didn't matter in the end because there was just too much blech, too much blech, just that ended up ruining what I thought was a solid night for the wrestlers. And I think that's the way I've started going into these WWE pay-per-views is, can it be a solid night for the wrestlers? Can they, just do what they're supposed to do and wrestle good matches? Because, they have people people like to forget, like, they still have, top talent. Like, when it comes to comparing their talent to any other promotion, except for, like, it's weird to compare to some, but they have from top to bottom the most talent in the world. They just are able to do that.
yeah,
So letting them just going out and doing that rather than, overbooking the crap out of them is almost always the better option, which, until the last 2 matches, which I thought the second to last match was maybe the best, whatever. They had 2 messy finishes to close out the night that just, you can only do one of those without, getting repercussions. Now you did 2. It's just WWE at its finest.
well, let's get to the main event of the night. We'll start off with the main event here. I'm going to trick you every time I do this. Starting off with the main event was the Universal title Extreme Rules match. This, of course, was Roman Reigns defending his Universal title against the Demon, Finn Balor, the Demon straight out of some sort of Mad Maxian realm with a spike helmet.
I
Match.
liked the look of the Demon going into
The
it.
Demon always looks good. The Demon always looks good.
His paint was not wearing off. It was actually really weird.
Yeah,
Like,
they found some new paint formula or something.
yeah.
But the match takes place. A lot of violent stuff that happens. It goes to the outside. Roman Reigns puts on a mask. I really enjoyed that safety precaution.
Yeah, I popped for that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, this, my guy.
I love that.
That's my tribal chief.
That's my tribal chief. So they go to the outside. More fighting takes place out there. They eventually come back inside. A lot of brawling and chair shots and spears through the barricade. Then at the end, you get the lights turn red. Everyone thinks it's the Fiend. But then there's the demon heartbeat. The Demon pops up, just goes on the run of a century. Looks like he's about to, I felt that, like, oh, maybe he's about to win the title.
Me too.
I think everyone felt that way on the internet as well. The rope breaks, the turnbuckle breaks. He falls to the floor like an idiot, and Roman just pins him 1, 2, 3. Doesn't do anything, just pins him.
He had a spear.
Oh, did he hit a spear? Okay, whatever. Hit a spear.
Not that it mattered.
1, 2, not, but even not his punch or anything. Just the spear.
Dead, gone.
Secondary finisher, signature move. Just spears him. 1, 2, 3. He's pinned. That's it. That's the match. Deus Ex Machina reigns in this match.
This was the ultimate, like, WWE main event double booking of ridiculousness, because listen, we got to go back to him, rising up as the Demon. Like, that first off was the ridiculous part, and the way they did it, I was actually kind of like, okay, this is kind of cool, because they were playing his music while he's beating the shit out of Roman. I was like, this is kind of cool. It's idiotic and stupid as hell, but I can get over that, I guess. And then they did the rope break, and I was like, you somehow overbooked the overbooking, and that is only an accomplishment WWE can do. I thought I enjoyed the match up until the moving like a fish on the ground. Up until then, I was like, oh, this has been fine. They've been beating the crap out of each other, which is really, in a WWE Extreme Rules match. That's really all you can ask for, is just to beat the life out of each other. And I thought they did a good job at that. I thought the spear through the barricade was pretty solid, and I thought these two had good chemistry. But in the end, it didn't really matter because we had to cut the rope out from Finn, and I was like, that's kind of a dangerous spot because you can't really protect yourself at all. And I mean, he's probably fine, but what a ridiculously gross overbooking. And I was like, oh, look, the Fiend's back. Awesome. Great. In the end, the Fiend's back because we have to overbook the shit out of it to make it lose. And it's not even like the Demon is treated like the Fiend. That's my whole thing. Like, the Fiend used to be like, he would get up from every finisher ever. The Demon has never been like that. He wasn't even like that in this match, yet they had to act like it was just terrible.
Yeah, wet fart. I mean, I already mentioned it before. Wet fart of an ending is what that is. Like you said, the match was good up to that point. I was enjoying myself. Most of these matches, I was like actually enjoying. It was just the booking stuff that was like, oh, why are we doing this? Yeah. But this match I thought was fairly good. Classic brawl, WWE. Demon looks good. I actually really liked I didn't like the sell of the floundering fish on the floor by Finn. A lot of F's in that sentence. But I like... I don't like using this word because of what 2020 was, but it was a very cinematic moment.
It was.
And, having the swelling music behind made me really, emotionally attached to it. Like, oh, shit, something's about to happen. And then,
it was like an action movie.
Yeah, yeah. And then, or even, like, a horror movie. Like, it was...
At the same time, yeah.
Yeah, it was... It definitely had a cinematic quality to it, which is what I think they were going for. But then having that happen to the Demon... One, Finn Balor says that he's going to NXT because the Demon got too much and he needs to refocus and make Finn Balor cool. He does that. He goes to the main roster. He has 3 matches, and the third match is a Universal title match that he loses. Then he becomes the Demon. Then he has this match, and the Demon has this cool spot that then gets destroyed by some Deus Ex Machina BS. So, is Finn Balor cooler? Maybe. Is the Demon cooler? Right now, no. The Demon looks like it's Scrub Magoo over there.
Which I honestly wouldn't be shocked if he was okay with that. Strictly so they just were like, yeah, we'll never use the Demon again. He'll be like, okay, that's exactly what I want.
Fine by me.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. They just mid-carded this guy so bad. I felt I don't know. It was just frustrating to watch that. It was frustrating to watch the music swelling and that being the result. It just was like,
oh,
we can't. Why? Hold on,
man. I just got a graphic. Coming in a couple months. It says Prince Devitt is all elite.
When does it? Let me look up. Let me see if we have any news about his contract.
Not soon enough.
let's just head on over to the old Fightful.com resource page.
He probably checked following this match. He was probably like, shit, when the hell am I?
What's my? I should double check this. A lot of people are just.
He's all elite, but would I be shocked if he went back to Japan? Not even remotely.
I mean, they're touring now, so I won't blame them.
I also probably miss him.
I mean, yeah, I imagine they would give him big money.
And they'd be like, yes, you can be a heavyweight.
Let's see. Injury report. Contract dates. That's what I want. Contract dates. Do we know anything about Balor? Command F. No, not found. Not on this list. Okay, we don't know anything about Finn Balor. I have no idea when his date is over. Johnny Gargano's date is apparently up late 2021. Oh, wait, we already knew about that.
Yeah, we knew that.
Anyways, Extreme Rules, baby. That was the only Extreme Rules thing. I think they did a good job of it being extreme, but went far of an ending.
WWE, when they do these stupid themed pay-per-views, they usually do too many of these types of matches. Mm-hmm. So this time when they only did one, I was like, weird.
Yeah, how did you feel about that? Because I feel like everyone every year complains that you should only be doing these sort of stipulations when the storyline calls for it. This year, maybe the triple threat calls for it. Maybe I don't. Maybe the demon bit calls for it too. But like, yeah, not many storylines called for an Extreme Rules match, and they only gave you one. So I felt like, they gave the people what they wanted, and then the people are like, well, then why are you calling it Extreme Rules? It needs to be something else.
I'm just always against the idea of having a themed pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that just is useless. And if you want to add a stipulation to a match, you shouldn't have to wait to Hell in a Cell to have a Hell in a Cell match. And so I didn't mind them having one match because I didn't need to see, Damian Priest versus Sheamus in a chairs match. Like, no one needed to see that. I thought those three had a really good match without having to have some stupid stipulation.
Yeah.
I understand like people wanting more stips because that just adds to matches, but I thought we got pretty good wrestling without ridiculous stipulations that probably would have ruined the match. So I have always been on the side of less is more, and I thought despite the ending, it worked out for this pay-per-view.
Becky Lynch defended and retained, well, not even retained, her title against Bianca Belair.
No
The
contest.
match ended in a no contest. Can you believe it? Can you believe it, Scotty?
I think I might be more upset about this ending than the other, because the other I was like, yeah, this is just exactly what I should have expected because the demon's alive.
Yeah.
This ending, I was like, you were having a great match. I really enjoyed this match. I thought Becky and Bianca worked actually very well together, and I thought they were doing the great moment of Bianca picking her up out of the disarmor into the KOD just for Sasha to ruin it. And I was like, why? Just why? Why do you have to always do this? And this was before I even knew what we were going to get in the main event. And I understood it because, like, you want to keep both protected, and Sasha needs to re-enter herself into the match, and yada yada yada. But at the same time, I was like, but you didn't need to go so extra. You really did not. And now, with the draft, I think there's only one person here that can win the belt, unless they do the double switch.
Which they still can. We still got Monday Night Raw to find out.
Which is gross. I hate when they switch the titles because they're different colors.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. I liked the match. Hated the ending. Kind of forgot Sasha was person for a while there because she just kind of disappeared. No one really knew why. Kind of know why, but that is not my information to share. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Bianca Belair about to win it. Sasha Banks runs out, beats up Bianca Belair. Then there seems to be some sort of thing between Becky Lynch and Sasha, but doesn't matter. Sasha Banks beats up Becky Lynch as well, lays out both of them, and leaves. So we get the return of Sasha Banks, which I think is exciting. I don't know. We could, use a Sasha Banks. That's always exciting to have Sasha in here.
I miss Bailey.
I miss Bailey as well. And I feel like, I don't know. This match, you kind of have to talk about this match in terms of also the draft, because Bianca goes to Raw. We're going to get this match triple threat at Crown Jewel.
I really liked when Becky did the thumbs up. I thought that was hysterical.
The hey, we're all good here, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's a draft match in a sense.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, the draft doesn't go into effect until after Crown Jewel because we have to be ridiculous. Yeah. And the match there, of course, the triple threat. And Bianca's already been drafted to Raw. So unless they are planning to just, be like Becky and Charlotte, switch titles, because I'm thinking Becky goes to Raw, which means Seth goes to Raw, because they're not going to keep them apart.
And Edge is going to Raw, so you can continue that storyline.
Yay! Yeah, I don't know. I don't care. I can't get myself to, necessarily care what they do. They'll figure it out, I'm sure. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just have both titles on SmackDown. Maybe they're just like, you know what, USA, you don't need a women's title. Who's even on your roster? And they could be like, we have Bianca. And they could be like, ah, shit, we'll make another title. It'll be the Universal Women's title. And then they'll have 3 women's titles. And then they'll do a unifying match at something.
Survivor Series.
Yeah. They'll unify all 3. They unify the Universal Women's title, the SmackDown, and the Raw Women's title, which are both on SmackDown.
And what's that? A run-in from NXT from Raquel Gonzalez? We're unifying all 4 women's titles? Let's do it.
You just ruined my brilliant idea with Raquel Gonzalez.
How dare you?
Oh my God, how dare you? Except I did just create a 3rd women's title, so I don't think you ruined anything. I think I just fell off the wagon there. All right, moving on.
Moving on to the next match, which was Damian Priest, Jeff Hardy, and Sheamus defending their titles. Not defending their titles. Damian Priest defending his title in a United States triple threat match. I think this match was very good. I honestly thought this match was very good. I think all 3 men went out there and killed it as best they can. We're making Damian Priest look very solid. He's consistently looked good. Sheamus has looked great. And I think Jeff Hardy held it in his own here. I thought Jeff Hardy did a good job.
If you were wondering who could be as over as Adam Cole, for some reason, it's Jeff Hardy after not wrestling for like 7 years. So all this man needs is no more words as his theme song and face paint to just be over more than anyone else on the show, because that's exactly what happened. He's not over as over as Adam Cole. That was just, the running joke on the show. But he's very over still. And I honestly thought for a few minutes there, I was like, oh my God, are they going to, just do the switch and please the crowd? Of course, I was wrong. But Jeff Hardy did get drafted to SmackDown, so there's hope that he's on the good brand now.
Maybe.
Who knows? We didn't finish the draft. But I agree. Very good match. Sheamus is like one of my favorites actually to watch in WWE because he hits people very hard and never really holds back, which is not something you could say about a ton of WWE wrestlers. And yeah, Damian Priest is having a good little reign. I'm happy. We all complain about like, oh, this NXT star is not gonna, get the right push, but they're giving Damian Priest the push. So.
And it's because it's the push that they're giving Damian Priest isn't like a world title push. It is, we gave him a solid push. We like what we see, so we're gonna put him in this tag match with Bad Bunny, so they get a lot of eyes on this guy. Then we're going to move him into the mid card picture, make him U.S. champion. He has the title for a bit, and then we just start building him up to eventually be a challenger for the world title. I mean, he's going to get there at some point.
Yeah.
I think he's, he could do it. I don't know if I think it's, it's hard to tell if, who's going to get what titles when, because a lot of times, who knows? A lot of times, who knows, and it doesn't matter, and they're props. But I think he can eventually be a world champion in this company, and I think it's just a matter of time when we get there. Who knows what will happen when we get there, but I would like to see him battling the likes of Bobby Lashley and Big E. So maybe like 2 years down the line, we'll see what happens. I think he's like a good Money in the Bank Royal Rumble winner, I think.
Interesting.
I don't know about this, this year or the next one, but 2 years, 3 years from now, I think he would be a good Rumble winner.
Who would have thought Punishment Martinez would have made it this far? Mm-hmm. Not me, that's for sure. But again, good for him. I'm with you. I think he could definitely get into the world title picture. He'll probably have a world title match. Maybe within the next year, depending on how this run goes. I think it's clear that United States title is going to be down to either way. I think there's one man that's getting set up to be a mid-card champion, and it's the Bearcat. But yeah, good for Damian Priest. Good match.
Yeah, that would be a nice mid-card title feud a little bit to have Damian Priest versus Keith Lee. I think we can
now
run
they're
that
going to draft him to SmackDown, and now we're going to get Bearcat killing Shinsuke.
Well, no, did Keith Lee go to SmackDown? I don't remember.
No, Keith Lee got drafted to Raw, so I'm thinking Damian Priest is going to go to SmackDown to ruin our plans of Damian Priest versus the Bearcat.
But that would mean they have to swap Nakamura and Damian Priest.
Well, it's something they like to do because unless they switch the women's titles, which they are on track to be doing.
Yeah,
But we'll see.
They typically swap one set of titles every draft.
Well, they've set it up that Becky Lynch is going to be the first pick Monday. It's just a matter of who's drafting first. I'm guessing it'll be Raw
because it's a Raw show. That would also make sense.
Yeah. But Bearcat.
I think this match also, by the way, was probably the best match on the show. I was going to say that.
Yes, agreed.
Speaking of great matches, Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. For the Raw
Moving
Women's
on. All right.
Can I say one thing before we move on from this match?
Well, this is half your show, half my show, so of course you can.
Props department or somebody. Look, here's the thing: special effects unit, or it'd probably be art. I don't know who. I mean, I'm in film, so I should know this thing. It's probably special effects, I guess. Whoever it is, you give Alexa Bliss a tablet so that she's foaming at the mouth, but no one is here thinking that like we should have maybe water in the corner that like she's just sweated a bunch. Her mouth is probably dry as hell, and we're gonna do a thing where she has to put something in her mouth to salivate enough to dissolve a tablet. That is a huge ass tablet, by the way. Cut it in half. Give her some water. Wet up that mouth. Don't cut that out. Wet up that mouth. And, because the image that they obviously wanted to have was her salivating at the mouth, which is a fucking insane image to do. But to have her salivate at the mouth, foam at the mouth while this is happening, and people are like, oh my God, what's happening? But really, it's just like now she's just screaming and upset, which babies her a little bit more. So that's what's gonna happen. No matter what, apparently Alexa Bliss is going on vacation, so we're gonna see her for a bit.
She's getting surgery.
Is that what it is? Either way, we're not gonna see her for a while.
Yeah,
I hope it's surgery because the fact that it's vacation, I was like, she didn't wrestle for a long while.
I was still a big fan of whoever tweeted it out, like draft Alexa Bliss to SmackDown and say, "Wow, Alexa, you're back to normal. What happened?" And she just says it was a case of the Mondays. Like I think that's like the easiest way to just null and void all of this Lily shit because it makes no sense, but it works and it's gone.
Well, I actually think the better idea would be to draft Alexa Bliss to SmackDown and draft Lily to Raw. I think that would be the best option.
You're gonna say it. Maybe we'll just release Lily. Maybe we just release Lily, like we released the Fiend.
That's right, Lily on AEW Dark this Tuesday.
Listen. Who doesn't show up on AEW Dark nowadays?
That's true.
But yeah, the match was it happened, and I don't care. I don't really enjoy Charlotte title matches unless they are against specific people. Mm-hmm. And I don't usually enjoy Alexa Bliss matches, especially now that she's the Fiend,
the Fiendess.
Yeah. I really don't enjoy her matches as those. Though this was the first time I think in my match rating she didn't get a 0 match. So
I thought this match was good. I thought for what it was good. It was just a lot of for what it was isms that
I
were in
watched
there.
a lot of women's wrestling. This was not it.
Oh, I get that. I'm saying it was good for WWE. I'm not saying that compared to Stardom or compared to AEW or compared to any other company that has women's wrestling. It's not even close. But for WWE, I thought it was good. I think the problem with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair is that they don't have great chemistry together. And I think a lot of that has to do right now with, Alexa Bliss Fiend character. Because it's all story. It's all story. And that's all it is. And I get it. We're telling stories here. But Alexa Bliss has never been like a worker. Mm-hmm. Per se, and Charlotte Flair isn't necessarily a worker, but Charlotte Flair can be like, sloppy sometimes. It actually makes her look better.
Yeah. Well, it's very funny, by the way.
What is
being a sloppy wrestler makes her look better? But I totally agree.
I mean, you look at the Charlotte Flair Sasha Banks matches, and it's like a lot of those like insane Hurricane Ranas that just look like death. Because they weren't done great, but they just looked awful.
Well, that's
mistake.
like her moonsault
Yeah.
back in the day. It used to be
Yeah.
perfect, and now it's terrible because she like tries to protect herself.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand you want to protect yourself, but like landing on your feet and then falling forward ain't it?
Yeah. No, yeah. It's the WWE stuff of, and I get it. You know, we're gonna be wrestling a lot, so we want to be safe when we do these things. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
but Jeff
that.
Hardy still hits the swanton at the age of like 43 in every match. Like that poor guy. And that was it this match that he got kneed when he landed on maybe that was on Raw or something.
I
But
don't
he
remember.
did a swanton. Yeah, it was on Raw. He did a swanton to Sheamus. And Sheamus put up the knees. And Jeff bounced. Like his back bounced off, and I was like, dude, why are we doing this to this poor guy? Like he is, I don't know how old he is. I think he's 42, 43.
I believe he's the same exact age as AJ Styles.
Sick. Awesome. Oh yeah, because they were doing the thing the other day of like, oh, this maybe Damian Priest could be as good as Jeff Hardy someday, and they looked at the age, and Jeff Hardy's like 3 years older than him, which is very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Why are we still talking about this?
moving right along, we got Jimmy and Jey Uso defending their SmackDown Tag Team titles against Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. The Usos pick up the victory. A lot of this match obviously having to do with Montez Ford's ribs being beaten down on the previous Friday night SmackDown when he faced Roman Reigns. So a lot of that having to do with attacking Montez Ford. And it was that double Superfly splash on Ford at the end there to retain the titles. Thoughts on this match, Scotty?
I enjoy Montez Ford. I'm still hoping on Monday he's drafted alone, which is so mean of me, I guess, to Angelo Dawkins. But I think Montez Ford has, star written all over him. He can talk, he can wrestle, he jumps out of the building every time he does that damn frog splash, which people love. I think he's a very easy person to get behind, and I don't know. I think you don't have a necessary window yet because he's still very young. It's not like he's up there in age. Like we just talked about, Damian Priest is like 39 and getting his push, but I think he's like 34, maybe
31.
Oh,
You got plenty of time.
well, then you have plenty of time. But I think Montez Ford is a star, and I think you should push him as that star. I think he looked good in this match. Again, no offense to Angelo Dawkins. It was really all about Ford's ribs. Sold it well. I liked his little Hulk up at the end where he didn't care about the ribs. He jumped over the turnbuckle, jumped over the ring post, which was absurd. And I think we've been seeing that a lot lately in wrestling, which is very weird, but also great. Like that's how much athleticism wrestling has right now. But he's awesome. The Usos did fine. Angelo Dawkins is good at being the big man of the tag team. It was a fine match.
My fear of breaking that team up is everyone talking about breaking the team up is because it would be good for Montez Ford, presumably in his future singles career. I'm concerned for Dawkins. I feel like we might get an Otis Tucker situation where
that's exactly what we would get.
Dawkins gets drafted to Raw and then he can fight for the 24/7 title, and that's
exactly what he would do.
So 9 months from now I'll get released.
That's why I say sorry to Angelo Dawkins every time I bring it up, because I just know that they will ruin the poor guy.
Yeah, both of these guys are smart guys. They're both smart dudes. Dawkins must be knowing that, like, hey, if we split up, I have to do something. I have to figure something. Not to figure something out. He has it. It's just like, he has to make sure that he is out there and doing things.
I'm always so shocked when wrestlers are shocked that WWE breaks up a tag team, and I'm like, dude, you have to know your other half is clearly going to be taken away and turned into something. Like that was with the Otis and Tucker thing. I thought it was way too early to break them up, but at the same time, I was like, you knew they were already favoring Otis. Otis had a singles run as a tag team, so to me, I was just sitting there I feel like you have to have in the back of your mind always a plan as a single star. If you want to make it, you have to have a couple plans, because that's how this promotion runs. It's always been like that. They've always been willing to just break up tag teams out of nowhere. They literally, well, not that this matters to me. I think this is better off for both. But they broke up Dijakovic and Mace. T-Bar. They just did that on the whatever.
On the draft.
And, yeah. And I sat there and I was like, well, this makes so much more sense than keeping them as a tag team because no offense to Mace, I think he can be a, good, solid, big guy in the mid card if they really wanted him to. I think he'll be a little in trouble. But Dijakovic is just, if you make him what he was in NXT, you have a mid card star instantly. Like, I feel like when they miscasted him for Retribution, it still doesn't make sense to me because I always enjoyed Dijakovic matches in NXT. I don't know about you, but dude's got the athleticism. I don't think he's like a terrible promo. And you don't even have to have him talk that much. So whatever. I don't even know how I got here. I'm not gonna lie to
you. I think you have to know what company you're in. This company does not, this company has a tag team division, but the end result of the tag team division, the tag team division's purpose in WWE is to one, have storylines of can they coexist? Two, distract like main eventers or mid carders or whatever from the title picture for a bit and go off and do something else. And three, figure out who can be the big star between these two and get behind them and push them. It's basically, it is a incubation chamber is what tag teams are. They're basically, we're just going to put two things here. We'll let them go out, wrestle, get more experience under them belts, and then we'll see how they go and see what they're doing. That's a good
comparison. Mm-hmm. They did that with the Usos, like accidentally. They got Jey Uso over to a point where you could put him in a main event of SmackDown and no one would complain, but actually look forward to it. And then they put him back into the tag team full time. So, yeah, that's a good call by you.
Oh, I'm chock full of good calls. That's what the show is about, is me and you giving the best correct takes out there. Speaking about correct takes,
can't deny that.
The New Day taking on in a surprise match. I don't believe this was announced before the show. New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods not defending anything, but defeating AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley and Omos. 6-man tag team match, 18 minutes and 13 seconds. Is really a 3-on-2 match because I believe Omos was in this match for all of 1 minute. And it was mostly just Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles.
Well, there's a reason for that. One, Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles are good. Second, Omos is not. Third, see this, 3 reasons. Omos is not good. It was the same reason twice. But I thought this was a good opener. This is the type of opener you want to get the crowd hot. The New Day is never the wrong choice, ever. They always are able to, get people into it. And, AJ Styles is still AJ Styles. He's not the AJ Styles of 5 years ago, but he's still far more capable than a lot of, wrestlers that you can watch on a day-to-day basis in other promotions. So take that for what you will. Bobby Lashley's been on a great run too, and I've enjoyed his intensity without the title. Good tag match, good opener. There you go.
Yeah, good, solid, hot opener for the show. Nothing too bad about this. Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles is great. Bobby Lashley has like a new gear and intensity without having that title because he's out for revenge, as it were. Obviously, this match was originally going to be Bobby Lashley versus Randy Orton for the title, and then maybe that would have been the cash-in. I think that was potentially the idea there. And then they go into the draft, and then they draft.
It's been a messy, way they've had, because Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast said that Big E was always set to originally cash in on the draft date, which was originally at the beginning of September.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wanted to make sure he still cashed in. So I think that actually more than anything is why they moved up that match, because I don't know. I think they wanted to get that cash in on TV no matter what.
Yeah.
And it worked out. He's champion, and he's getting over more and more as the days go on, which I wasn't worried about with him. I mean, New Day, after all these years, are still, probably top merch sellers, most popular. So bless those three for doing what they've done in a company that doesn't usually allow that to happen.
And of course, the kickoff show, Liv Morgan defeats Carmella. Did you watch this match?
I did. I actually went back and watched it because for some reason, I always think Liv Morgan can give me a decent match, which she actually did. She's actually, out of all the women in WWE, Liv Morgan's actually done a lot to improve because she used to not be very good. And I always credit her with that. And of course, I think working with Ruby, probably helped a lot. She probably learned a lot from Ruby Riott. Now Ruby Soho sing the song. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. But yeah, Liv Morgan's good. Carmella wasn't embarrassing. I think Carmella is actually like serviceable when it's not about like the ridiculousness of her character. So yeah, fine. What the hell is it called? Kickoff match. Now I'm gonna let you, get into your explanation of the thing that I don't know what it's called, because this is your part of the show. I was here to cry about Finn Balor. You're here to actually tell like real things that happen in the real world.
You know what my takes on my hot takes on the Carmella match and her hot takes on her new mask?
Did you watch it?
Of course, I did watch it. And I saw pictures. I saw pictures of that mask. The glitter mask.
It was funny because the joke was, now you can't make me ugly. I was like, don't worry, you did with that mask.
What was the storyline? Did I miss it? Did they hit her nose or something? I don't even remember. Like, was
Liv Morgan? Yeah, Liv Morgan like tries to hit her face to make her ugly or something, and there was never like a complete goal for Liv Morgan to hit her face, but for some reason Carmella made it that way.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions.
It feels like Liv Morgan is not a part of this story, except the story is happening around her by Carmella. Like, it's just.
I will say that they have like a weird case here where they have a woman getting over by barely still being on TV, which is Liv Morgan. Like, people want to see her win, and I think she deserves that title reign someday. I still do think that. But you know what? I'm just gonna sit back and listen to you now, because this is now the Ryan Neitzey podcast about things which are helpful, and I've never been helpful. So,
oh no, you're extremely helpful, Scotty. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, he literally just left the frame. He's dead. He deflated like some sort of inflatable man. That would only make sense. But Scotty, if you are still, I was looking away from the screen. Are you actually still gone, or did he walk away? I wasn't even paying attention. Oh no, he's still there. Thank God. Thank God, I'm not alone. How far? Where is your How far down are you? What is happening?
I've sunken into my chair. You need to stop asking me questions because I'm stuck. So just go.
Okay. Well, I wanted to talk here because this is a news story that no one talks about. And Scotty, of course, if you have any questions or need to dumb it down, please let me know. But this is a news story that no one's really talking about. And one of the big reasons why no one's talking about it is mostly because all the mainstream companies are owned by the studios. So they're not going to talk about it. But IATSE, which is the huge, you may have heard of it, is the huge film and television program for all of the union workers. There are a couple other unions. SAG is for actors, or SAG-AFTRA is really what's called. WGA, Writers Guild of America. You may remember their '07 strike. That's how we got the birth of reality shows. We got the DGA for the directors, and we got the Teamsters for transportation people, the truckers. So what is happening right now is, or what has been happening for a while, is that IATSE has agreements with studios, which are represented by a group called AMPTP. I like to remember it as AMP Toilet Paper. Basically, they had an agreement that to work and had all these rules and whatnot. That studios will pay this much for this rate, and meal penalties and overtime for all these specific things. And they had this agreement. They've had this agreement forever. Well, that agreement ran out at the end of July. That agreement ran out at the end of July 31st. Since then, IATSE and Amp Toilet Paper have been in agreement, have been in negotiations the entire time, but negotiations have run south. Scotty, these negotiations have been about basically. So I work in the film business, Scotty. You know this.
I do.
You're still away from the frame, and it's so jarring. You literally removed yourself from the podcast. Basically, what the negotiations are and what they're falling through is that a lot of union members have realized from the pandemic and having all the time off for 6 months is we all realized what life is like. Scotty, let me ask you a question, Scotty. Can you please return to the podcast with me?
Hello.
What you work, correct? Like we all do. You work.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah. How many hours a week do you work typically?
40 or so, give or take.
Is 40 hours a lot, do you think? Would you prefer like a lot of other people in the world, they want to get less 40 hours, make it a 4-day work week or something?
I mean, that would be great, but it is what it is.
The reason I bring that up and for reference is that
I know someone, by the way, that works for Netflix. So
Ooh.
All of this is very interesting to me as you go on.
Yes, I work on a TV show called Legacies. It's a CW TV show. Jessie, my girlfriend, we've talked about this before. She currently works on a Marvel movie, and that's all I can say about it. There's a red dot already on my forehead. But so we both work in obviously union shows. The friend works at Netflix. If they're working on a Netflix production, it's a union production, obviously.
Yeah.
But that actually works. The Netflix discussion will work later. So basically, Scotty.
That's me.
Film hours are 60-hour work weeks.
That's not good.
That's
not it.
I work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I work in the office. So there's people on set that if we go over, they go into overtime, which can make it 13, 14, 15-hour work weeks.
You work 12 hours a day?
Yes, I work 12 hours. Well, I'm in the office, so really I work 10-hour days. But that's because I'm supposed to be working 12, but my office is like, hey, you can work 10.
Oh my God.
If you're on set, you're working 12-hour days. And if you go in overtime, you're working 14, 15-hour days, making those 60-hour work weeks into 70-hour work weeks, 80-hour work weeks. I worked on a show. This is one of my first productions I ever worked on. It was a non-union production in D.C. Where on average, it was 14-hour work days.
Oh, no. That's more than half the day.
And the first day of production was, I think it was 16 hours. And the last day of production was 22 hours. It was snowing, and they did not author any of us to like houses to sleep in or hotels to sleep in like they're supposed to. Instead, they're just like, hey, drive home. Your 22-hour work day, drive home now. I came home and the sun was up.
You just say 22-hour work? Oh my God, that's just not legal.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And the part of the big issue about these agreements and why the negotiations are falling through is that the unions realize, and all these members of the unions realize, I want to have a life now. I would like to have a life again, because people drive home and fall asleep at the wheel. People get in accidents. These things happen. And a lot of the reasons these things happen is that originally overtime and meal penalties and all these things, Scotty, were supposed to be deterrents for studios to not go over. Now studios are making so much money that it is actually cheaper to go into overtime than to extend the shoot schedule by a couple days, weeks, or whatever.
That makes sense. No offense to you guys, but like that does make sense to do that instead, because like renting out Okay. Well, that sucks for you guys.
So I work in accounting on legacies, and we have one person that's a Steadicam operator. It's those guys if you're watching Raw or SmackDown. They're the guys holding this like the camera, not on the shoulders, but they have like a whole like rig on their system that is like holding the camera straight or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That guy.
I'm looking up your show that you're talking about.
Sure.
Continue.
Legacies is like the sequel of the sequel of Vampire Diaries.
That's very funny.
Yeah. But I work in accounting. This guy obviously gets a paycheck every week. He also, for his Steadicam rig, has 3 packages for him.
This is the Ryan Neitzey show.
Exactly
guys.
right. The Legacy show.
Look at it. Look at it. Look at it.
Look at it. Scotty, he has 3 packages and a paycheck. One of those packages is just for his Steadicam. For the entire run of this show, Legacies, for their season we're filming, that person will be making, on that one Steadicam package, $98,000.
Oh.
On top of 2 other packages and all these things. So what I'm saying is his check is cheaper than his entire run of show package. Probably, I assume. I don't know his pay. I don't know what his pay rate is. So what I'm saying is it's cheaper for studios to actually go into overtime and work these people to the bones. And everyone's had enough of it. And IATSE has had enough of it. And they want better days. Another thing they want, you talked about your friend working at Netflix, is that Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, these are all considered new media productions. Because they're on streaming services, not TV or movies or anything. Those streaming services, they negotiated when they first started out they were able to have the base rate for all the crew to be lower than everyone else, just because they needed to start up these streaming services. That happened 15 years ago, and they have not changed whatsoever. So now IATSE wants the streaming services rates to be increased as well. So everyone, basically, we all want time in our lives. We want to be paid better.
So you're going to be the reason I have to pay more for Netflix?
Potentially, if Netflix.
Oh my, that's fine.
But that's also what this conversation is about. Is that what I'm trying to do is explain why this is important, why the strike is happening, why it's necessary. Because people want to have a life. I'm with Jessie. I'm with my girlfriend. Eventually, we want to get married. Eventually, want to have children. We have no clue when we would be able to have a kid if we're both working in film. We have no time whatsoever. She's on set, so she would be pregnant. I'm not pregnant, but she would be pregnant. And
are you sure?
I don't know. We will have to find out. But we will have no time. She will have to take off so much work to be pregnant.
Yeah, that's yes.
It's bad.
That is how that works. That's a lot, but you didn't have to dumb it down for me because I got it.
Yeah,
thank you. I understand. Oh man, I mean,
it's bad
when you hear the side of people that work there, and you aren't say me who works not in that industry and doesn't fully get that. When you hear their side, I feel like the addition of $2-3 to your monthly subscription is something people can get over. Because working anywhere that's over 10 hours is just way too much. Because I know a lot of people I know construction workers, and working 10 plus hours isn't something foreign to a lot of fields.
Yeah, but
my God, you shouldn't have to do that every single day. And you shouldn't have to, working 12 hours. That doesn't include the driving there.
Correct.
Driving back.
Correct.
Eating.
Yeah.
You have to sleep.
Can I describe to you? What Jesse's? I want to give you. I want to give you Jesse's work day because hers is way worse than mine.
Right, because she's on. Yep. Doesn't make sense.
She. So the studio where she has to go is an hour's drive. Okay. So she wakes up 4:45 a.m.
Oh my god.
Gets ready, eats breakfast if she can, and tries to leave out the door at 6. She then drives an hour to work, works 11 and a half, 12 hours. She typically gets cut 11 and a half, but 12 hours. So this is now like 6:30-ish. You right? Or 6:30? Yeah.
7:30. 7:30.
It's 11 and a half hours. You don't count lunch.
Okay.
So 6:30-ish, I think.
Yeah, sure.
I think.
No, it's 11:30 because she got there at 7. Wait a minute.
Either way, she.
So 6:30. Yes.
So either way, she gets off work. She drives home another hour. Gets home typically at like 7:30 p.m. She starts making dinner. I get home. I usually join her on dinner or whatever we're trying to do. We eat, and dinner can take 30, 45 minutes, hour, whatever. We have to order, by the way, we order meal prep. We order those meal prep boxes, so that we don't have to decide on the food. We can just have all the food ready to go make it. So she starts making that. I come home. I either help her. I watch Dynamite. Then we eat dinner while we watch like an episode of television. We do whatever like one thing chore we can do in the house. And then she has to be at bed at 9 p.m. So she has like an hour and a half home to cook dinner, eat dinner, do something else, and go to bed. And then she does it again the next day, 4:45. And then she goes to bed at 9 so that she can get a reasonable hour's sleep. She doesn't have to choose that, but she does, which I obviously love that, because we all need sleep. So that is her day, every single day for 5 days a week for 8 more months.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The reason I'm talking about all this stuff is, again, I want to stress the importance of why this strike is happening, what the importance of it is. People want to get paid better. People want to have better hours, see their life. They typically right now it's an 8-hour turnaround. They're fighting for a 10-hour turnaround, which is the 8 hours off, including an hour back and forth to drive. So they want, extended hours, and that typically means the workday will probably shift to 12 to 10-hour days. They want better pay. There's a couple other things that they want. Money is definitely part of it, but it's the time that's obviously the bigger thing. Meal penalties as well. That goes into overtime. That meal penalties used to be a deterrent. They're no longer a deterrent. It's way cheaper to, meal penalties, Scotty, is basically like we work 6 hours and then we have lunch. If we go into that lunchtime and the crew believes that we should have been able to hit the time, it's mostly the production's fault that we're not hitting the time. Meal penalties start accruing. It's a couple, for the entire crew, it's a couple $100 if that happens.
Oh my god!
It's what is it? It's $8.50 for the first half hour without a meal, $11 for the second, $13.50 for each hour and a half after that. Round up the entire crew, that's a couple $100 for however much. That's way cheaper. It's way cheaper to do that than do that stuff. So IATSE cannot come to agreement with AMP Toilet Paper about this. So they decided that we are going to potentially go on a strike. On Friday, October 1st, IATSE members voted on 3 things, and I'll get to those 3 things, Scotty, and why they are important. They basically, IATSE members are voting to authorize a strike. If there is a 75% yes, then a strike has been authorized by the members, and IATSE can now strike if they so choose. There'll be some fourth quarter negotiations, but if those fall through too, we'll get a strike. This is huge. It's huge. IATSE has never striked before. We have never striked before. And we're talking about who is going to strike. Let's talk about who is going to strike real quick. A lot of these unions that are potentially striking are LA-based unions. However, there are 3 unions, Scotty, that are national unions. They are IATSE 800. That is the art department. Those are the people that build the sets, that's construction, build the sets, dress the sets, buy all the props, do all the stuff. Basically, they make the whole thing happen. IATSE 700, those are the editors. If they strike, post-production stops completely. No one can edit anything. And of course, so we have the people that make the sets. If they strike, no more sets are being made. We have the people who that will edit the movies and television, all that stuff. If they strike, no one's gonna be editing anything. Nothing new will come out unless it's already finished. And finally, IATSE 600, which is the camera department. If they strike, nothing will be filmed. So we have 3 national unions that are all potentially striking. So it's a huge,
not good,
huge thing. Basically,
well,
if
good for you guys, but not good.
Yeah, and that's the reason I want to stress like why we're striking is because for people like you, Scotty, people who may be listening to the show, people who are everyday know-abouts, whatever, this will have an effect. Things will stop. It's gonna be like COVID again, where entertainment will come to a screeching halt. The thing about COVID is that people are still able to film stuff. Now no one would be filming anything. Everything comes to a stop. And when we go into its effect on wrestling, for a while there, sports broadcast, not reality shows, but like television stuff, live, news programs, were not affected. That's a different agreement. It's called a videotape agreement. Basically, it's a whole. They have separate agreements for all the stuff with toilet paper. But basically, Monday Night Raw, AEW, WWE, not affected. That negotiation, that agreement between IATSE and Amp Toilet Paper ended September 30th, and it was part of the voting process, one of the 3 things they were voting on Friday. So, union members were voting on Friday whether or not to strike for that videotape agreement. If that agreement gets 75% yes votes and they decide to strike, then sports broadcast is affected, live television is affected, or news programs are affected. Obviously, if they vote on the other agreement, 75% yes, television, movies, all this stuff is affected. Everything comes to a screeching halt. This is the new thing I found out today, is that sports broadcast is a part of this vote.
Oh boy.
WWE, AEW, presumably they have union members. I know people in the past who have worked on AEW and WWE, respectively. They are part of the union, these people that worked on the show. And because they're part of the national not national broadcast, but part of USA, part of TNT, these are more than likely union productions.
Oh boy.
So, with this videotape agreement on the board, if a strike happens, filming's done. WWE could hire non-union workers, but they don't necessarily want to hire people right out of college, so that's not a great move. They could hire union workers who aren't striking but are who are not standing in solidarity, because I'm not in the union. I'm in a union position, but I'm in standing in solidarity because these are all hugely important things. I've been there as a PA where it sucks. Right. I don't like seeing Jessie work these hours. I want her to have a life, honestly. So I'm in solidarity with them. So if people cross the picket line and want to work for WWE, then they're crossing the picket line, and that's not going to look good for them. Obviously, nothing necessarily bad will happen, but your union's going to be mad at you if you worked.
Yeah.
So everything will stop. One person I was talking to online said that like WB could have individual agreements with IATSE, which I don't know if that will ever happen. That has never happened. Obviously, a strike has never happened, so that would be a precedent that would have to be set. I don't think it would happen, honestly. But legitimately, the fact that I found out today that the videotape agreement is a part of this means that before members, the filming, the camera guys on WWE could just be standing in solidarity and not working. But now it's potentially they could also be striking. These camera guys could actually be striking for WWE, AEW. So if you thought COVID was bad and you were like, nothing will stop wrestling from COVID, unions will stop it. The strike will. If a strike happens, and I should be clear. This is not the union's fault. These are the studio's fault that this is the situation. This is not the union's fault. I'm saying that the strike is happening because the unions are striking, but this is the studio's fault for not agreeing to these terms, for not paying workers better, for abusing overtime and meal penalties, for having these new digital media deals that are extremely cheap and are screwing over rates for other people. These are things the studios have done, and it is our last hand to strike. So it's very frightening. So the effect on wrestling is, if a strike goes through, Scotty, we might not have anything to talk about. That's the fear. And of course, we're gonna have your local indies and probably GCW, because I doubt that's the union. Any non-union productions will be fine. So we're gonna get a lot of fight GCW shows. But this is a huge news story that no one is talking about. And on Monday, tomorrow, October 3rd, 4th, what day is it? October 4th, IATSE is going to reveal the results of the vote that happened on the 1st. Like I said, if it's a 75% yes on all three of these agreements, then a strike has been authorized. Fourth quarter negotiations, if that falls through, then a strike will happen. So a strike may be happening in 2-3 weeks, who knows? Depending on that vote.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So, Scotty, as someone who obviously does not know as I hope you now know the severity of this thing, how do you feel about everything?
These streaming services better fix their shit. That's how I'm feeling, because there's going to be a lot of stuff missing that I think a lot of people will. Yeah, I think the strike is very smart in the sense that if everything stops and people don't get to see what they want to see, that's how that's when the uproar will begin. Like, if I think the sports, more than anything, depending what's stopped there in terms of airing, that will create a very big outcry. And I think I understand the move. It's there.
And to be clear, it's this sports broadcast. We're also talking about like NFL and all these other programs.
That's gonna rattle some people. That's a lot of people to piss off.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very smart to go on strike, because without all these people, nothing gets done. So,
and it should be said also that there's also a lot of other cool things about this, is that SAG and WGA, DGA, Teamsters, those unions I've mentioned before, they're all they're all standing in solidarity. They've all chosen to. The U.S. government put out a statement, and they're siding with IATSE on this.
Oh boy. So, these streaming services gotta figure it out very quickly.
What the studio's perspective is basically what they're betting on, is that they are betting on the fact that the vote will not be able to reach the 75% yes margin, because they are betting that union members do not want to voluntarily stop working after not working for 6 months because of the pandemic. That's what they're betting on. But my thing is like, well, also what we're betting on is time, and what that pandemic showed us is that we can have a life. So it's frustrating. WGA struck in 2007. You may remember that. If you're listening to this, you may remember that. That's a big strike that happened. All these that's basically what started reality shows, is that they don't need writers for reality shows. The writers of WWE were not striking because they were all non-union and members of WWE itself. So yeah, there's a really what it is like that strike in 07 lasted 100 days, I think, which is 3 months. So a strike can happen like a day or 2 weeks, or or 3 months, but
yeah, there's no timetable. It's pretty much until people hopefully get what they are asking for, which you would think, with like the seriousness of like everything that stops, it wouldn't take as long as you'd hope. Like, you would think people would be back to work in better conditions. Like, you would hope that's within the next 2 months. Like, you'd, if the strike, of course, happens, which I'm assuming it does. You would be hopeful that, you know, all these places realize, hey, let's get everything back going. Like, we are going to lose more money not doing this. So yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. I can't believe you wanted to try to fit that into last week's episode, seeing it just took up like a very big chunk. But I think that's something a lot of people need to hear, because I can already hear, you know, depending what happens, depending how these companies, you know, have however they handle it.
Yeah.
You know, there's always solutions for like wrestling companies to broadcast, but at the same time, there's a lot more than just camera work that goes into this. So be very interesting to see. But that was probably the most helpful thing we'll ever say on this podcast. So when I say we, I mean Ryan, and I'll probably never have anything nearly as helpful. So you're welcome.
Don't bury yourself here, man.
I gotta bury myself because I slept on a recliner.
I just felt the need to talk about it because, like I said, no one is talking about this.
No, it's good public awareness.
And obviously on Monday, when we hear the results of the vote, it's going to be a bigger story if you know, they reach that strike agreement vote, strike authorization vote, I should say. So you'll hear, hopefully, depending on how that goes, you'll hear a lot more votes on this. I definitely feel like we're going to get the votes on it, just based on talking to other people. Everyone's kind of in agreement about this. I really feel like the votes are going to happen. The broadcast, the videotape one is what I'm most worried about, or most concerned of not reaching the margin, just because that just ended at September 30th. So people might, you know, be like, it's fine. Obviously, no matter what, the agreements still need to happen. It's just a matter of a strike happens, and a strike is going to be huge. It's gonna be huge. So just, you know, be on the lookout for that one, folks. You know, I'm telling you now. I'm the Silver Surfer before Galactus shows up. I am the Herald here. Get ready, because if a strike happens, probably 2-3 weeks from now, everything stops. So get ready. I'll be out of a job for a bit, potentially.
Yikes.
The only thing I should say, though, the only things that will still be filming are HBO, Starz, Showtime, and BET, but that's because they're a whole separate agreement. So those things will still be coming out and having things. So get ready for all that.
HBO's elite, so
yeah,
that's good. I mean,
that is a good point. I didn't think about that. Hold on.
They are all elite.
But HBO is different than TNT. HBO is
correct.
HBO is a premium streaming
thing.
Yeah,
it's a Warner Media thing, so they could be using the same people as HBO. You'd possibly think. I mean, I don't know. So
I don't think it would. I think there would be two different things. I think it would be two different things.
I don't know.
Because HBO is HBO is a studio, part of a premium service. This isn't HBO Max; it's HBO.
Right. Well, HBO and HBO Max are the same thing in terms of like they have the same content.
But that is like, think of that as a studio. Then you have TNT, you have TBS. All of it's part of Warner Media. And I should also say though that, like, you know, people can work on HBO and stuff. People can work on WWE if they still want to choose, AEW if they still want to choose. All these people can still work. But if a strike happens, they'll be crossing the picket line, or they can work non-union on a union position. I'm in the tricky spot, Scotty, where I am working a union position on a union show, but I am non-union. So I can still work. I can still work, and everything will be fine. The problem is that the union, because I'm in a union position, the union's being notified of my working hours, even though I'm non-union and we're making any benefits from it.
Yeah.
So if I work during the strike, the union will be told about it. And then if I try to join the union in January when I plan to, they'll be like, "Yeah, we love you having the union. We do have here that you worked 2 months during the strike, though. So what's that about?
Yeah, no, I get why you would not.
It's
It long term, it's just smart not to.
At the end of the day, if it's a brotherhood, so
Yeah. Well, that was a lot.
I don't want to put the fear in people, but be on the lookout on Monday. See how it comes out. I'm worried.
Good news, everyone. There's more wrestling than just the ones on TV.
The good news is that the G1 Climax will still be happening nonetheless.
There you go.
So let's talk about the G1 Climax here.
Ooh, that was a heavy topic.
It was.
That was 40 minutes of me just listening, which is an accomplishment by you to get me to do that.
I had a lot of thoughts, but no.
I understand it. I mean, there's a lot of anger there. So, you gotta let it all out.
But it's also it's a whole world that no one knows about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's the behind the scenes that people don't appreciate.
So I felt the need that I need to explain it. And if you want more details or more stories about issues with IATSE or people with working on productions, go to
Ask Ryan.
Ask me on Twitter, or go to the Instagram account IA_stories. It's a bunch of people who anonymously post their stories about working on unions, productions, and stuff. It is tragic to read. It's a bunch of stuff that is truly happens, and I've seen it. I've heard people about it. I've lived it, so I completely understand. And I should also say, I want all of my flowers here. I'm working 12-hour days. I'm still running a podcast network, so I really should be getting all the flowers here for my views.
The G1 Climax.
G1 Climax. So obviously another day happened this morning, but I don't want to talk about it just because you were sleeping on a recliner.
Couldn't even begin to tell you what's the last show I watched, but I'm definitely close to caught up. I'm not caught up, but I'm close to caught up.
I am caught up to, and we're going to talk about up to day 8. I'm completely caught up. It's okay for me because I wake up at like 6:30 every morning. So, excuse me, I hit the microphone. I wake up at 6:30 every morning, so I can catch typically all of the G1, maybe the main event, maybe not the main event, depending on, timing of matches. So I've been able to stay along. I've been able to stay up with it, except for this morning, but that's besides the point.
Do you watch? Yeah, just go.
Do I watch what?
Nothing.
Okay.
No, I'm not here.
Day 8. Let's talk about up to it. So going through the block, let's do some quick grading. I just want to talk about it quick because we're running out of time here.
I wonder why.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me. But let's.
No, I think I'm blaming Extreme Rules. Actually,
fair enough. Fair enough. Let's go up the leaderboard. So let's go down. Let's go down the leaderboard. So let's start off with what I have here, the red block. It might be the A block, I think. Zack Sabre Jr. At the top of the leaderboard as of day 8 with 8 points, beating Naito before he got injured, Shingo, Ibushi, and Great-O-Khan. Thoughts on Zack Sabre Jr.?
A
plus. Oh no, I'll say A.
I was thinking about A plus, but we're only through so many matches. I think we need to get to. But that being said, I think he has had one of the most impressive, unexpected tournaments I've seen so far. Maybe ever, because Zack Sabre Jr. is a guy that he comes into these tournaments and he's always really good at being a spoiler type guy. He's going to give you a good match. He's going to be someone that they tell a story around because he's able to manipulate bodies and break them down.
Yep.
And of course he injured Naito, which I'm not going to put full blame on him. Naito's knees as is are just bad, but
they're glass knees.
What Sabre Jr. has been able to do is put together just this must-see tournament so far. He is having the...
He's not having the best top-tier matches, but I think a lot of people aren't having the best top-tier matches.
Well, yeah.
But he has the best story.
Best story. Into them every single outing. And I don't know. He's making matches with the Great-O-Khan seem far more interesting than matches with Like, he's not going to put on a 5-star match. He's not going to do that. I'm sorry. I just don't think.
He's no Bryan Danielson.
I don't think any situation in the block. I get what you're saying. I don't think there's any situation in the block that he can do that. I just don't. I don't see it. But his matches have been great, and I actually think everything that's come after the Naito injury has been like must see.
Yeah. 100%. I think the Naito injury, in a weird way, has elevated Saber a lot. The hot take here, and I don't like saying it, but like the Naito injury has made the entire block thrown into question and makes the entire thing more interesting. Honestly,
It's true.
Part of me wonders if it's legit just because it's wrestling. It probably is legit just because of odds. But like the fact that it's like replace them and then we can get like Hiromu and like all the juniors in here that Naito has in the past been like, oh, I want the juniors in here. And like we can get all this other stuff and elevate other people this way. You know, it makes it, and the fact that it was the first match, I don't know. There's those things, but that's all tinfoil hat. Zack Sabre Jr. has been amazing this thing. His story has been great. You're right. If he was going to have a 5-star match, it would have been with the likes of Naito, Shingo, Ibushi. So it's not likely that he'll have one of these things. He could have one with Ishii or Kenta maybe, but probably not. But he's been doing a great job. Great Khan also has 8 points. He got a free point with Naito. He has beaten Tonga Loa, Toru Yano, and Yujiro Takahashi, and he has lost to Zack Sabre Jr. A bunch of easy points for Great Khan here.
B minus.
I'm gonna say B.
Okay, so I haven't seen his match with Sabre Jr. yet, which is easily one that I've seen as like the most highly regarded match, maybe of Okan's year.
Definitely the best match that he had up to day 8.
Yeah. So that being said, I still think he's done what he's had to do, which is look dominant, and I think this is a tournament that they're using in a smart way for him, of getting him to that next level that I personally have been hesitating on. And he's an interesting wrestler because he does some things that I'm really intrigued by, and then there's other things that I'm like, what am I watching? But good start.
Good start with Great Khan.
I don't think B minus is mean. I just think like I haven't seen the Sabre Jr. match, which is why he probably would be at a B or B plus if I have.
You're grading him against Yano, Takahashi, Tonga Loa. I don't blame you.
Hey, you leave Yujiro alone.
You leave Big Juice alone. And I think also we'll really get the full scope of Great Khan when he faces the lights of Ibushi, Kenta, Shingo, Ishii. Speaking of Shingo, next up, Shingo with 6 points here, beating Ishii and Kenta and losing to Zack Sabre Jr. So if Sabre doesn't win the tournament, he can at least challenge Shingo Takagi for the title. So thoughts on Shingo?
I think Shingo just does not stop. Like, he doesn't care. And I really enjoy. So this wasn't a G1 match, but it happened on a G1 show. I really enjoyed his match with Yuji Nagata. I thought that was like, it didn't need to be good. It could have been a match that Shingo took his time off, essentially.
Yeah.
But they had a really good match. And of course, the match with Ishii, off the top of my head, still my favorite match of the tournament. But again, I'm not fully caught up. It was that, and then probably Okada and Tanahashi. Just assuming.
Yeah.
I also really liked Shingo and Sabre Jr. But man, Shingo's he's on another level from all of these wrestlers, including the B block. Like, he just seems he can't have a bad match right now. Like, if there is anything behind it, if it's just a singles match, almost, he's having a great match. It was a few months ago that he had a match with like Master Wato that was actually like good, and I was like, what is happening? Like, this dude just isn't missing. And I'm not saying Master Wato is bad. It's just like, never was that a combo that I think would have worked. But Shingo is having himself a run, and I'm excited to see how he closes this out.
Shingo is having a run that we all thought Ibushi was going to have. in terms of like wrestling when he becomes the champion or whatnot.
I'm very upset that he didn't get to wrestle Naito, though. I will put that out there.
Yeah.
We got that taken away from us, but it'll happen. It'll happen someday.
Speaking about Ibushi also 6 points. He's beat Yano and Ishii. That Yano match I actually really enjoyed.
Wait, who? Who did you say?
Kota Ibushi versus Yano.
Oh, Kota Ibushi. I completely my brain just shut down when you said that. I heard Yano and I was like, oh.
They actually, I love it. I like Yano matches when something new happens, something different comedically happens.
Oh, you don't like the same thing every time?
No, I hate that shit. It's the stuff that they do.
Wait, why do you like Tomohiro Ishii? Ah!
Got him.
Which is funny because I just said he had my favorite match in the tournament so far. So burn on me.
Anyways, Ibushi has 6 points, beat Ishii and Yano. And then he has lost to Takahashi and Sabre. Thoughts on Ibushi? I think right now, what a loser. It's really hard to tell if Ibushi, just because right now it's him telling a story. He's the story guy right now in this block. So I'm
trying to get back to full health.
Yeah, I'm gonna say B. I haven't seen anything that I thought was bad, but it's just it's like the Okada thing when he was like the balloon guy. It's just like, oh, we're telling a story here. We're not gonna get the thing. We're not gonna get all that stuff. I love
Balloon Okada. I miss that guy. I miss the guy before Balloon Okada too.
We'll get to cool 5-star Ibushi later.
Yeah, I think B's a good grade for Ibushi. He's the type of guy that you put on the match and you see that he's in it and you're excited instantly. Like, that's the type of guy he is because you know what he can do. Yeah. But him doing this story is very interesting. I liked his loss to Yujiro. I thought that was an awesome way to kick off the tournament. But I'm wondering where they're going with Ibushi. It's going to be interesting.
I totally agree. Speaking of interesting, Toru Yano, also 6 points. He has a win over Kenta and Tangaloa, and of course the free points from Naito. And he has lost to Ibushi and Great-O-Khan.
I can't believe you're making me grade Toru Yano. That's impossible.
I'm going to say C+.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because he doesn't have good matches, but he does entertain me still after all this time of, doing the same things. His match with Kenta was very funny. Yeah. Because Kenta likes to play back, which I think if you play back with him, it's good. Yes. I think it was his match with Tangaloa was atrocious, painfully bad.
Yeah. It's the Ibushi and the Kenta matches which I really enjoyed because
that's not Toru Yano's fault.
No, yeah, but really it's you need someone else to go against him who is also funny and knows how to do funny stuff. Yes, and Kenta and Ibushi, like you said, it's like improv. I'm gonna flounder on the stage if I'm by myself, but if I have a partner with me who can keep the joke afloat,
right?
Then Ibushi and Kenta are those good partners.
Then you're salmon.
Then you're salmon.
I don't know. You said flounder, so I was trying to make it something fishy.
Then you're Finn Balor. Kenta also has 6 points. Takahashi and Ishii is who he's beaten, and he's lost to Yano and Shingo.
B. Kenta.
I say B- for me.
Kenta is so interesting to me because, I want to enjoy everything he does at all times. Because he just has, something about him. And I think he's very good still. But he hasn't had the signature match yet. Off the top of my head, from everything I've seen, I think I've liked his match with Yujiro more than I've liked maybe anything else, which is not... It's weird to say that because Yujiro's not a work rate guy. He's not at all, but I don't know. Kenta's a weird one. I think B- is fair too. I think B. I'm just going with B because I expect it to get better.
Yeah, I think it's mostly because of who he's faced. So, he's faced Ishii and Shingo, so I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, Yujiro Takahashi, 4 points. Keep it moving. Yujiro has beaten Ibushi. Obviously, that was this upset victory there. And he has lost to Kenta and Great-O-Khan.
Yujiro. Yujiro deserves some damn respect. He's actually doing very well for, one of the lower guys in the block.
We'll be saying it about the rest of the Bullet Club guys, but they are showing up this tournament.
They are. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with B for you, Jiro. I think B minus was too mean. I've enjoyed 2 of his matches a lot. So
I'm gonna say B minus.
yeah.
Anyways, Ishii, he has beaten.
F. Just kidding.
God damn.
I was gonna stay with the gimmick.
He has beaten Tangaloa and he has lost to Shingo, Ibushi, and Kenta. I'm gonna say this.
Loser.
I'm gonna say this the same thing when we get to Goto, but Ishii.
Devastating.
If you want to talk about legitimately though, Ishii, this tournament to me is Ishii is starting to. We're starting to turn into the dad group. You know, we're starting to get there. He has lost to Shingo, Ibushi, and Kenta. He's only beaten Tangaloa. You know,
at least he beat Tangaloa.
That's true, but he is. We are sunsetting Ishii right now. That's what's happening.
In the arms of the angels.
Oh my God.
Goodbye to Tomohiro Ishii. It was a good run.
B, I think.
B. Yeah, I was gonna go with B.
B.
I've went 3 straight Bs, but I think he's been solid enough.
I think he's been solid. But really, what makes me a B is that it's been a disappointing solid. Like Ishii is known for having. I mean, not to you, but known to having like great matches. So him having like good matches, not like great matches, all timers.
He had a great match. Oh,
he had a great match of Shingo, but he hasn't had like all time matches every single night.
Literally never has had an all time match.
How dare you, Tangaloa? Tangaloa,
fucking D minus. He's terrible.
He has only lost to Okan, Yano, and Ishii.
He's like not good. He should not be like. He is more.
I think he's fine.
This is gonna sound like really mean, but he belongs less in this tournament than Chase Owens.
I would say Tangaloa is probably the weakest of the entire tournament. Yeah, I can agree to that.
Like his matches have not been good. He's made. So I was talking to someone the other day that like he's making Tama Tonga seem like Kenta Kobashi in terms of like he's been so bad that Tama Tonga seems so good.
Hey, I mean Tama Tonga needed that, man. So I'm not gonna.
Tama Tonga blocked me. I don't want to talk about it.
Moving right along.
Complimenting him.
Naito, we obviously can't discuss because he's
what
out.
A loser.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's injured, man.
I know, poor guy. I'm very sad about that.
We got 3 minutes to wrap up the show, so we're going to blow through this. Ready?
I mean, we can go like 5 minutes over.
Okay, then I'm going to go 10 minutes over. Kazuchika Okada in the other block. He has 8 points. He is undefeated. Tanahashi, Evil, Yoshihashi, and Goto.
A
as well. I would say A+.
I never want Okada to lose.
I would say A+, honestly.
I would love if they just went with the undefeated tournament. That would be awesome.
I think if you're going to do that any tournament, this would be a good one to do that for any of these guys, I think.
Especially in this block. Like, I think once he got through Evil, I was like, okay, so, like, you have a chance here to just run the... Because Evil's a guy that you can, cheat Evil into a win against Okada. But I think you go undefeated.
Speaking of guys undefeated, Jeff Cobb, also 8 points. He's beaten Owens, Yoshihashi, Goto, and Tama Tonga. Now, he's different because he hasn't faced Tanahashi or Evil yet, so those could be losses for a Jeff Cobb. But I really like this idea of having both guys going undefeated, and we already know on the final night they're against each other again.
I agree. That's where I thought too. By the way, Jeff Cobb's great. A-. I think he's been awesome.
Me as well.
I think
he's pulled out great matches of those 4 dudes that he's faced.
I think for a lot of us, it took a couple years for Jeff Cobb to fully feel right in New Japan because he was still doing the Ring of Honor stuff too at the same time.
Yeah.
But now that he's went full New Japan, he has been awesome. He has been what's kept the United Empire afloat. I honestly forget he's even in that group because he just seems like his own commodity in a sense. Like if he was not in a faction, I think he'd be even better off somehow because he just has that presence about him now. But definitely, did I say A-?
Yes.
Yeah, A-. And he still has the best matches of his tournament, I think, to come. I'm really intrigued by him and Evil.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by him and Evil a lot too, just because I think Evil has been weird this tournament. I will get to him, I guess. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see. I would so love if we just do straight
I
up
also
undefeated.
love the Tour of the Islands.
It's a great move. Heel Jeff Cobb is great, and I think it also
Yeah.
that was part of it is that we needed to get the heel Jeff Cobb. Speaking of not a heel, Hiroshi Tanahashi,
Go Ace.
6 points. He's beaten
Go
Goto,
Ace.
Tonga, Sonata, and he has lost to Okada.
I love
U.S. champ.
Hiroshi.
U.S. champ.
I just love Tanahashi. Like, he can't do anything wrong. I would B plus. I'm not gonna just be the ultimate fan here and give him an A because I feel like it. I think he's wrestled some good matches. His match with Goto left me wanting more because I think those two, have a phenomenal match in them. We've seen it before, and they rarely wrestle anymore. But
I would say he also pulled out a great match out of Tonga as well. Tama Tonga.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the Tanahashi thing.
The Tanahashi effect.
His match with Goto wasn't bad. I know that could have been better. He pulled out a great match with Tonga. Him and Okada turned back the clock, which was awesome because just the happiness those two had sharing the ring together was cool. So I'll go with B plus. I think he's been great.
Evil. I'm going to give Hiroshi Tanahashi a B plus as well. Evil, 6 points. Yoshihashi, Taichi, and Owens, and he's lost to Okada.
I've enjoyed Evil. Is that bad?
I kind of have too. He's still doing the heel stuff, and he's
not nearly as bad.
It doesn't feel nearly as bad, and maybe it's just because it's he's the second match of a tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But him and Yoshihashi killed it. And then
I told you. What did I tell you?
You were right. I was shocked by how right. Well, you weren't.
Oh, hold on. You're never shocked about how right I am because that happens all the time.
To be fair, this is Evil. Come on. In Evil matches, he had a match with Shingo, and I didn't love it. So that tells you a lot. But I thought this, maybe it's because the matches aren't going as long either. They're not going over 30 minutes of doing the same thing over and over again. His match with Yoshihashi was good. I enjoyed his match with Okada. I don't think that was offensive to me in any way. Who did he just wrestle?
Owens. You did not watch the Owens match.
I did watch that.
Oh, you did?
I watched Evil versus Chase Owens. I actually thought wait a minute, did I?
I watched that this morning, so you might have.
I didn't watch that. Who's his third match?
Taichi.
I really enjoyed that match. I like Taichi a lot. Random thing, but I thought they did pretty good, all things considered. And the sadisticness of Dick Togo grabbing. I always forget Taichi's the girl with Taichi's name, but he grabs her and
Miho Abe.
Yes, makes her watch as Evil's making Taichi go to sleep. I was like, yeah, see, this is a heel. This is the type of heel stuff Evil should be doing. I've really enjoyed Evil's tournament, so I'm gonna give it B plus.
Yeah, Evil should be less of a dickling and more of an actual torture, brutal guy.
More of a Togo thing.
Yeah.
You said dickling, so Dick Togo.
Very nice.
The Togo thing made no sense, but you liked it.
Speaking of random, Taichi, number 4.
Taichi.
Goto and Sonata is who he has beaten, and he's lost to Evil and Yoshihashi.
Put some goddamn respect on the Dangerous Techers, people. Put some respect. Taichi has been he's been so good since they became a team. I think I think his overall improvement has been awesome. I think he wrestled some good matches so far. I'm going to give him nice B. But Taichi matches are actually matches I look forward to, which if I said that 2 years ago, I would be laughing in my own face.
Yeah, no, Taichi has definitely found something and has turned it all around here. Tama Tonga with 2 points. He has beaten Chase Owens. He has lost to Sonata, Tanahashi, and Cobb. Tama Tonga, a guy that is surprisingly doing better. All it took was take off that compression shirt, and he has honestly been doing a great job obviously, he's not doing 5-star classics. He's not doing 4-star classics, but doing what the bar was down below, so he's elevated.
2-star classics. Yeah. So yeah, he's getting I think personally he's getting consistent threes, which is what you can ask of a guy in his spot. He's solid.
Yeah, I think he's been very solid. Very
I should
solid.
probably give a grade. I'll give B minus, which I don't think is. I think is over what anyone expected out of him. And he's not doing a lot of heel stuff, which I think is helping. Like in his, what was the tournament where like it was him versus the Elite or whatever? That was terrible. So like I always think of that when he got disqualified like a million times.
Yes.
Like so anything is better than that.
Yeah, and I think that's what people were probably expecting too. I think
he's actually wrestling.
Yeah, he's actually wrestling, which I'd love to see. Chase Owens, 0 points. He's lost to Cobb, Tonga, Sonata, and Evil.
This is gonna come as a surprise, but I'm not gonna give him anything below a C minus. I'm gonna give him a C minus.
I think he's been fine. I think he has clicked into a different gear, which I've enjoyed.
I watched Jeff Cobb kill him, so that was cool.
That was very cool. But I think he's hit a gear switch that I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
He's not like I said, same with Tama Tonga. He's not the best person in this entire tournament. He's not the worst. But he's doing good.
This might be a hot take, but I think the B block has consistently been more entertaining than the A block.
Yes, no, not a hot take with me. I completely 100% agree.
Which is crazy because like everyone was like, "Oh, that's the terrible block." But
well,
I think Evil picking up his game, Tama Tonga picking up his game, and Chase Owens not being an embarrassment to the tournament has helped because it was those three. It was the Bullet Club that had people very wary about what was going to happen. So I'm happy you're in agreement with me.
Yeah, I think it's also the same thing. I talked about the same thing in terms of match ratings. Is that anything where it's like my expectations are the bottom of the shits, and you're elevating that to doing a great job. I immediately like, oh man, you've impressed me. I liked being impressed. I like seeing things that's like, oh, you did better than I expected. I congratulate that. I throw your flowers to that. Yeah, so exactly. I appreciate it. Bottom of the barrel. Speaking of the bottom of the shits, Hiroki Goto, bottom of the barrel here. 0 points. He's lost to Taichi, Tanahashi, Cobb, and Okada. He'll probably.
Did we skip Sonata?
We did skip Sonata. My apologies.
We'll do Goto first.
We'll do Goto.
I was sitting here. I was like, oh, who? Sonata's got more points than 0. I just watched him win yesterday.
My apologies, people.
Goto, man, it's so sad to see him, be lower than Tama Tonga, but. The
sun setting.
The sun set like years ago.
I think Goto has sunset more than Ishii. Like Goto started the sunsetting last year. But
it's really sad though. He's younger than Tanahashi. Like he's young. I know the very different situation. Very different. Yeah. Like Tanahashi debatably has had like one of his best years this year in like a resurgence year when they need him the most.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very sad because I think a lot of us can agree that Goto, he deserved a run. He did. In all these years, he deserved one run with that title, and it just never worked out.
He was not at a good. He was caught in between a bad time. He's a guy out of time, basically.
Yep. If he was there during the bad years, he would have been champion easily. Like he would have been, if he was there. If his prime came in the 2000s, because he won his first G1 in 2007 or 8, one of those 2 years. If he,
first G1 he was ever in,
right? If that was at the head of the tournament, like ahead of the decade, I think he has an IWGP title reign in there easily, because it's just a shame. But good tournament. He's having good matches still. I'll go with B. He's very average.
I'm gonna say C. I'm gonna say C plus. I've been kind of disappointed by some of his stuff because I'm expecting the big things.
I think he's gotten really used to the trios. Like I know they say that on commentary, but I think he's legitimately got more used to the trios. I'm gonna go back to B minus. You make a good point that like I wanted so much more out of that Tanahashi match.
Speaking of wanting so much more, Sonata. Skipped him, so we're gonna go back up. 4 points, Tonga and Owens, and he's lost to Taichi and Tanahashi.
How dare you say that about Sonata? Take it back.
I'm just saying,
Sonata's so
people expect him to be a champion, but
I still expect him to be a champion. Um, I. hmm. It's so weird that they do commentary talking about Sonata as in like he starts off flat because it's pretty much acknowledging what people feel with Sonata in his matches is that sometimes he can be at the very top of his games, but other times he does show up and doesn't fully perform.
yeah,
And it's really weird that they acknowledge that on commentary. Like I was not noticing the other day and I was like, wow.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go with B. I think I've probably liked him more than you this term, but I'm not fully caught up. So maybe the most recent match that I missed of his was just really bad or something. I know he fought Okada today, so that is always something.
That is always something. That is true.
That's,
And their G1 matches have consistently been good.
yes.
'Cause
I could see Sonata win that. I think if Sonata lost that today, I have no idea, by the way. I have no clue. I forgot the show even happened. If Sonata wins that, this is like okay, let me rephrase. I think this is the last chance for Okada to lose before the final.
not including Jeff Cobb. You're saying before the final night.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I think this is the last chance for him to lose.
Yeah, unless it's like some spoiler out of nowhere from like Taichi or something, or Tama Tonga, I can agree with that.
That better not happen. No, but I think that Sonata is just such a weird wrestler because I think at his best, he's very, very, very good, but unfortunately, he doesn't always bring his best, which is a shame. And Skull End is. I was really hoping he beat Chase Owens with Skull End so I could laugh at him.
Yeah. That is it for the show, folks. We're in. That's it.
We didn't do Yoshihashi, jerk.
We did. Did I skip Yoshihashi too?
Yes. How dare you?
So what happened was I'm just trying to focus on getting you out of here because we're 12 minutes past 11.
No, it's fine. I got extended. The time.
Perfect.
We're all good.
We're in overtime. Yoshihashi, then you talk about him. He has how many points does this scrub have? 2 points. He beat Taichi and he's lost to Evil, Cobb, and Okada.
Yoshihashi a scrub?
Look, man, I'm just mad now. You talk about this dude.
Why are you so mad at Yoshihashi?
I'm mad at you, man. For me skipping things, I'm mad at you. So I'm taking it out on Yoshihashi.
I don't think it's my fault that you skip things. I don't even have a doc in my head, and in my face, I'm remembering these things. Yoshihashi, man, how half tournament? He's not supposed to be doing this good, like in terms of like match quality, but like every Yoshihashi match you want to see because I feel like he set a precedent with that Evil match. Like he made it known, hey, I'm here to show out, and he's been doing really good. So I'm gonna give him B-.
I'm going to give him a solid B. I've enjoyed Yoshihashi. I think since they returned from the pandemic, Yoshihashi has really stepped up his game. I think he's been doing a great job. Evil and Yoshihashi are just great together. What's great about their connection is that Evil sells the butterfly lock so well.
Evil's good. I just want to like put this out there.
No, he's evil. He's evil. He's not good. He's evil.
When it comes to wrestling, Evil's actually like good at wrestling. It's just like the role he's in.
Yeah.
He's not always allowed to be good at wrestling. So like I understand like why people dislike him, and he's still very popular. Like I think they were saying how the House of Torture shirt is in like the top sales or something.
Yeah.
Like this dude, like he might do stupid things that annoy the crap out of everyone, but that's the point. Like at the end of the day, that's the point. Like I know a lot of people are here for the work rate and the 5-star or 4-star matches, but listen, Evil's gonna do his shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're gonna get lucky if you put on a really good match, and because he can and he has. And I do miss the days of LIJ Evil.
I like how instead of talking about Yoshihashi, we talk about Evil.
Yeah, yeah. I had to get more evil talk in here because everything is evil.
Is there any other people I missed, or are we done?
No, I think you got everyone. You said Chase Owens, you got Tama Tonga, but you forgot Yoshihashi and Sonata.
Look, man.
That might actually be like a crime.
Remember when we did our very first episode and we were like just giving our general thoughts about different promotions, and I totally forgot to talk about New Japan.
Yes, yes, I do, which is very funny because like I think you like New Japan more than I like New Japan.
But what I'm saying is I've set a precedent from the beginning that I have everything prepared, but I just like skip things.
We're just becoming an evil podcast, anyways.
It's an evil and Adam Cole podcast. Apparently.
Ring post evil.
Ring evil radio.
Ring evil radio.
Evil post evil boom radio.
Baby. Down the baby on the end.
Plugs, match of the week. Scotty, what do you want the people to watch, and where do you want people to see you give thoughts on?
Follow me at Scott E Wrestling on the Twitter. What is my match of the week? 1 second. Get a load. What did I enjoy?
I have quite the surprising match of the week as I look at my ratings.
Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson was good, but that was not my highest rated match. If you say it's Dante Martin and Matt Sydal, I'm going to fight you.
No, it is not.
Okay, good. Because I saw a lot of people really loving that match, and I was like, boy. Did I even watch wrestling this week? Oh boy,
guys, you gotta come prepared. What am I talking? What are we doing, Scotty? You gotta come.
I usually am.
I know it's the recliner energy.
Which
oh, this is you falling asleep because you didn't get any sleep last night.
What a rush. You go first.
Sure, you can follow me at Ryan Neitzey on Twitter.
Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole.
Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Jungle Boy lost again, so there we go.
Yeah, you gotta keep the
theme going. We called it too. You and I were like, "Oh, but he's losing it," and we just both laughed.
They keep putting him in matches he can't win.
Like,
he's not allowed to win them.
What are we doing here?
Like, I'm so shocked. We didn't even talk about Sammy Guevara winning a damn belt, by the way, which is whatever. Which would have been a spot for Jungle Boy that would have made sense as a big win, but they're like, nah.
And then Jungle Boy will challenge Sammy Guevara at some point. Should be a great match, and then he'll lose it. So
I do have a fun story, real quick before I let you do your match of the week and whatnot. So my friend, who's a big Adam Cole fan, mostly because he watched the Up Up Down Down Uno more than anything, but he's a big Adam Cole fan.
He's a big he's a big Chugs. He's part of the Chugs army.
So he always texts me and says, "I can't believe Adam Cole and Chugs are the same person," because like for those who don't know, Adam Cole might be the nicest guy in the whole entire world, but when he's a wrestler, he's an absolute dick, and he's very good at that too. But he watched the Adam Cole Jungle Boy match, which I don't know if he's ever watched AEW before that. Adam Cole brought him over. Adam Cole over. Shocker. Gotta get that in. But he's like, listen, Jungle Boy's gotta like win because this guy's awesome. And I was like, dude, tell my co-host. Yeah. Like he agrees that like Jungle Boy should be winning like
something. Give him something.
He made the point. He's like, Jungle Boy should be like a massive star. What are we doing here? I was like, I don't know. I don't know, because I think everyone agrees like he should be and he will be, but like at the same time, how many times can you be a loser and become a star? Which is, the Ryan Neitzey rant of the year.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you'll ever top that.
It's just, what are we doing with this guy? Give him a signature win. His only wins against MJF, and then he lost again against him on the rematch. So what? Give him something. Let's do something. Beat?
What would you do to give him a big win? Like at this point, after all these losses, what would be your booking idea to get him that big win? Because I have no idea.
Have him win the tag titles. Have him win the tag titles of Luchasaurus. That's all you had to do. And now we're not going to do it anytime soon.
Flown the coop on that.
I know. That's what I mean.
We had their massive popularity, and now that's gone. Like they have That is like one of the weird booking decisions
Then-
in AEW.
This is what I'll say. Trios titles, Super Click versus Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Christian, or Marco, or whatever. Jungle Boy gets the win by pinning Adam Cole. Let's do that. Let's start there.
I hope you know that they'd probably lose the title like a week after.
Yeah, they're gonna lose it to Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi.
Goated team right there. They don't lose.
They don't lose.
No, they're actually going to lose to the New Day because wrestling is now forbidden door wide open. No, but okay. Trios win for Jungle Boy. How did we get here?
Matt, my plugs, boom, is going to be Kazuchika Okada versus Yoshihashi.
I didn't watch that yet. That's not my fault.
From night 6. I thought that was a very good match from these two individuals. Yoshihashi is good. He is certified good. And against Okada, I thought he put in a great match.
He is certified #good.
You can follow the network at CountOutPod. You can subscribe. If you can please subscribe to our show, Ring Post Radio, wherever podcasts can be found. Especially if you can leave a review on iTunes, or leave a 5-star review on iTunes. We would greatly appreciate it. It helps the show immensely. We also got some merch in the Countouts Pod website merch stores. We got some stickers in there if you'd like to purchase a Ring Post Radio sticker.
And maybe love a nice sticker.
And we might have some T-shirts or something eventually, but let's see where we get. Let's see where we go to.
Yeah, and I'll say Ring Post Radio, baby.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be both of us doing that or whatever.
And then we'll have one. And then we'll have one that's evil. And it'll be Evil Post Radio, baby. And that will be great because if you listen to only this one episode where we ever bring it up.
And we're gonna have one. We're gonna have one T-shirt where on the back is my entire Jungle Boy rant.
So instead of the Scott Steiner math, it's gonna be the Jungle Boy rant. Or you know what? We'll have one T-shirt where around the entire T-shirt, it'll be every time Ryan has to talk about Jungle Boy on this show from beginning to end, and then you'll have to read it to yourself. That'll be the pain because it's better when you can hear him yelling about it.
The T-shirt's gonna be a picture of me pinning Jungle Boy.
We've fallen off the wheel yet again, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's where we end the podcast.
So long. Goodbye. Over like Rover. Adam Cole, baby. Jungle Boy, baby. No, doesn't work. Evil, baby. Something every